Hello and welcome to the fourth and final meeting of the City of Pittsburgh Capital Program Facilitation Committee for 2016. My name is David Hutchinson. I'm the Capital Budget Manager for the City of Pittsburgh. We're going to start off today's meeting with some introductions.
I'm Bill Urbanek. I'm the City Council Budget Director.
I'm Ray Gastel, City Planning Director.
I'm Jen Persuti. I'm the Assistant Director for the Office of Management and Budget for Capital and Asset Management.
I'm Andrew Dash, Assistant Director with City Planning.
Mike Gable, Director of Public Works.
Jim Griffin, Director of Parks and Recreation.
In just a little bit, the directors from the departments will have a chance to highlight their accomplishments for the 2016 capital program. So while the departments work on their projects throughout 2016, the Capital Program Facilitation Committee worked to put together the capital budget for 2017. So that's what we're going to discuss today. So what is a capital project? Capital projects include designing, building, restoring, maintaining, or purchasing a city-owned asset utilizing public money. Public money can come from one of four sources, which we'll cover in just a little bit. Also, capital projects have a minimum budget, usually of $50,000, and a minimum useful life of 5 years. In terms of funding sources, there are four categories of funding for capital budget projects. Due to the long useful life of many of our capital assets, the city may incur debt in the form of municipal bonds. This helps the city extend beyond the current tax revenue to provide core infrastructure we all use every day. It also spreads out the cost of larger projects, so current and future citizens both pay towards the assets from which they benefit. Additionally, the city receives CDBG, or Community Development Block Grant funds, from the federal government on housing and urban development. This money is focused on projects that benefit low and moderate income people, benefit seniors, eliminate blight, and address the threat to health and safety. Pay-go or pay-as-you-go funds are monies transferred from the general fund into the capital fund. These funds are often used on projects that are not eligible for bond or CDBG dollars. The city also applies for and wins a number of grants from various state and federal authorities, local foundations as well. These funds are labeled as other in the capital budget. So what is the CPFC? It is a 10-member organization made up of representatives from the Office of the Mayor, the Controller's Office, City Council, and City Departments. As written into Chapter 218 of the Pittsburgh City Code, the CPFC advises the Mayor and City Council on selection and prioritization of the capital projects. It also works to ensure that the capital budget is carried out and that all encumbered funds are expended by monitoring and spending the performance of capital projects. CPFC holds 4 meetings annually, the last of which one is this cablecast today. The capital budget process runs throughout the year. In April, the mayor provides his priorities to departments so they have a chance to shape their projects. These values guide the selection of projects for the mayor's capital budget. Towards the end of May, the Mayor's Office of Management and Budget issues a formal request for proposals from city departments and city council offices. The Capital Program Facilitation Committee then goes out to the public for 2 hearings in June. These meetings are a great opportunity to introduce the public to the capital budget process and get their feedback both on the mayor's priorities and on specific projects they would like completed in their communities. This feedback is collected, sorted, summarized, and published into documents that are shared with the mayor's office, city departments, and city council offices. City departments and city council offices then have an opportunity to review the data and create capital budget proposals. These capital budget proposals are submitted in July to the CPFC. Additionally, the Capital Improvement Program Manager creates a complete list of proposals that CPFC members use to review and evaluate the projects. We will talk in more detail about how projects are evaluated in the next slide, but it's important to note that the projects also go through a technical review with city department officials to get feedback on eligibility for CDBG, adherence to adopted plans, and feasibility in terms of scope, budget, and timeline. The summary report is presented to the mayor in August. The mayor then makes a planned capital budget and presents it to the council and public in November. In December, City Council holds public budget hearings with departments and authorities, makes amendments to the budgets if necessary, and passes legislation to authorize the budget starting in January. So how does the Capital Program Facilitation Committee evaluate projects? Chapter 218 in City Code prescribes the above priorities when reviewing proposals. Does the project resolve an imminent threat to public or employee safety or health? Does it achieve compliance with federal or state statutory mandates? Does it leverage additional non-city funds? What is the impact on the operating budget and potential operational savings? Does it improve efficiency or effectiveness of service delivery? Does it improve the quality of life in all city neighborhoods? Is there demonstrated public support from the public? And does it comply with the comprehensive plan, if applicable? 2017 was an excellent year for the Capital Program Facilitation Committee. We have yet to finalize it through council, but we can be sure that it came from a very robust pool of proposals. CPFC received over $140 million worth of proposals from departments and council offices across the city. From sidewalk upgrades to park plans to major bridge replacements, submitted proposals touched on all corners of the city in many different facets. There was also overlap in deliverables between proposals submitted by city departments and those submitted by city council offices. This is encouraging as it indicates shared priorities between departments and council offices. This year, the CPFC was able to utilize Questica budget software in project review and budget modeling. As cloud software, Questica allows multiple users to save documents and make notes on proposals in a shared environment. Proposals were also submitted to the technical review for the first time this year. As discussed earlier, proposals were shared with department officials to get feedback on eligibility for CDBG funds, adherence to adopted plans, and feasibility in terms of scope, budget, and timeline. This is a screen capture from the capital budget. And the capital budget is shared online through the City Council Budget Office website. It has a lot of information. It includes outlines for the fund sources and timelines we discussed earlier. It summarizes feedback from the capital budget deliberative forums, lays out the capital improvement program for the next 6 years, and also provides detail on spending for specific projects and deliverables. This slide represents a project and its deliverables. The first page summarizes the project, including a 6-year spending plan and justification for the project. The second page provides further detail on deliverables within the project, including the cost and location of work. The CPFC is already looking for ways to improve the process for the 2018 capital budget. The Department of Public Works has begun pilot testing for tracking capital projects through Cartograph, a very expansive asset management software suite that allows DPW employees to record work performed against assets and update project status in real time. Representatives from the Mayor's Office have met with the Department of Public Works and the Department of Innovation and Performance to explore how we can leverage the information shared through Cartograph into a public-facing venue, also through the Western Pennsylvania Data Center and Bird's Eye View. CPFC will also review strategies next year for how to spend down older money. If you have any questions about the capital budget or the process used to create it, you can view the above website for the Capital Improvement Program. You can also email cip@pittsburghpa.gov. Additionally, the most current capital budget and those from years past can be found at the City Council Budget Office website. So now we're going to take an opportunity to highlight some of our department achievements in 2016's capital budget.
Well, thanks, David. So the Department of Public Works was charged with over 200 deliverables in the 2016 capital budget. I promise that you're not going to have 200 slides today, but I think what we have here to show a flavor of some of the things that we worked on in 2016 were pretty exciting, pretty dynamic. You're going to see a series of before and after photos, and I think in some of my statements you'll hear an emphasis on partnerships, that it was not just the city alone, it was in partnerships with others to help complete a lot of these projects. So this first one is a picture of Rho Street. Initial discussions on this street was to basically remove the brick, resurface it with asphalt, which in turn would have created a problem further on down the road in terms of collecting stormwater and discharge, where we would have had to put more basins in at a lower intersection, which would have made the project a lot costlier. So we were able to work collectively with Columbia Gas to restore this street and to keep it in the character that it is with the bricks, and improve the sidewalks for the residents. So that's a before and that's an after picture. So this is sort of a foray into a green project where it's remains a brick street. Water will then perk through it to the ground. Also will run down the street, but more of it will perk through, so it makes it one of our first official green street projects. Next one is, let's see here. Okay, Oakley Street steps. These steps are in a major means of transportation through the neighborhoods and a means of transportation. And we were approached by the Southside Slopes Neighborhood Association to do an art project, that they want to do an art project on these steps. However, in its condition, it would not have accepted the project. So we had to work on improving the steps. And once we did that, they were able to improve the appearance of these steps. And so this project cost about $120,000 to repair the steps, to put them in the condition that they needed to be. And then the artist came in, a local artist came in working with the SSNAA and put this mural on. And so now, instead of that boring walk up and down the steps, it tends to be a more inviting, exciting walk up and down the steps. So a great project, and again, working with a partnership with the Southside Slopes Neighborhood Association and a local artist. The next project is one that's actually still in progress, but still would like to give people an update on it. Is the largest project that, at least that I know of, that Public Works has undertaken. It's a $19 million renovation of the Greenfield Bridge. And this is what it once looked like with the bridge under the bridge. And now the progress of a few weeks ago, where the structure's actually now gone across, and a lot more has occurred since then, but this is one of our most recent photos. So the project is on schedule, and it's expected, I believe, to be opened in 2017. The next project is may look very simple. It's Noblestown Road. It is a state road, but it does reside within the city of Pittsburgh. And this particular stretch of road, especially this time of year, creates a lot of problems regarding the water that got on the road. So freezing temperatures created a lot of icy conditions and created a lot of public safety concerns. So we worked on this project, and about $100,000, we've captured the water, we've gotten it into the basins, and now the street looks like that. It's dry. We improved the curbs, we put some aggregate down, and we captured the water, getting it into the basin. And so now people traveling on this portion of Noblestown Road travel a lot safer, especially now in this time of year with the freezing temperatures. The next project is Forbes Avenue between Smithfield and Wood. It was a federally funded project, about $4.5 million, but federally funded projects, the tab is only about 5% on the city, so most of it's borne by the cost of the federal government. And this was an improvement of the street. It took into account street lighting, park furniture, basins, let's see what else, new traffic signals and intersection improvements. And so the new look is something like that. So it's a lot better improvement, and it's the traffic signals are going up. I think a couple have gone up, but there's more that have to go up. But this is considered to be a completed project for us. The next project is Penn Avenue from Matilda to Eveline, Phase 1. Again, another federal project in the neighborhood of $6.4 million. This, again, is a completed project, very much similar to Smithfield, the Forbes Avenue, Smithfield to Wood. Took into account the same assets, street furniture, street lighting, intersection improvements. This one took into account adding trees, cutouts, and stormwater management areas like bioswales. And again, like I said, it was another federally funded project. And so now there's the new signals, there's the improved intersection, Penn and Matilda, and looking down, and I think that you can see this building here has been demolished, and now a new building has been put in its place. And that's what's happened up and down this corridor of Penn Avenue. So it's actually improved the business corridor. Grandview Avenue is the next project. This is a very vocal site, a very visual site for visitors and residents alike to view the city. Gets a lot of attention, and it just needs a lot of attention itself in terms of the sidewalks, the roads, the benches, the railing. There's a lot of areas that need to be worked on up here. And so in conjunction with working with the Mount Washington CDC, with a cost of about $152,000, this is, again, another project is in progress, but we have started to work on the sidewalks. There are plans to fix the decorative railing, to install some benches, to do some landscape improvements, and to install the Shiloh Street sign that is off the side here. But Just a little bit of work has occurred on here. As you can see, there's new sidewalk has been put up here. So the residents and the visitors will see more and more improvements going on in this location over the next few months. The next location is Overbeck Street. Hillside falling away, jeopardizing the stability of the road itself. So in conjunction with PWSA, our partner, we're both sharing in cost on this because each of us has a concern with this particular street. And so the project is completed now. The road has been stabilized. We've built the wall, the retaining wall, and they've done the benching of the hillside to make it more stable. This project, again, was a joint venture with PWSA at a cost of $199,000. Again, both of us splitting that cost. The next project that I think is pretty interesting is Freedom Corner. This is really a relatively new monument, but it's already started to show signs of decline or wear and tear. So as you can see here, there's already some work that was in progress here. And what we did is we fixed the lighting, both the lighting around the monument itself. There are the footlights that are emphasized more at night. We've reset a lot of the pavers to have better drainage on the site. There was a lot of water being captured in there and not being able to get out into the basins and all that. We finished a quote that was, for some reason, there was a quote on this wall that was left unfinished. So we've basically completed the project, and this is what it looks like. It's pretty dynamic. Nice view of the city, great view from the city there, and great view from the night looking up there. So if you haven't seen it, I emphasize everybody to take a look at that monument up there. The next projects are a series of playground renovations. I'm going to go through 4 of them right now in various areas of the city. This first one here is Frazier Park out in Oakland community. So we ended up demolishing the existing play structure there, the safety surface. You can see this actually in construction. And so the new playground looks like that. New modular structure, new safety surface, new seating, and perimeter fencing, because we're on the backside of some of the residential homes. And so we've dramatically improved the visual appearance of this recreational asset. Additionally, the next playground is Berglund, again showing it's sort of under the construction phase. There was an old modular structure here. We removed that structure and did some work on the basketball court, and the new look is that. So we've resurfaced the basketball court, we relined it, we put a new modular structure, new safety surface. And this was done actually to complement the spray park that had been completed the year before. So now this is a much better recreational asset. So when the kids are playing at the spray park, they can just come right up and play on the playground, play basketball. They're sort of interconnected. The next playground is Swisshelm Park. Again, we did some major improvements here. This was a basketball court right here. That's been decommissioned. In the rear is a tennis court, and further back here is a hockey court. So what we did is we removed the basketball court. We've decommissioned that and made it a open green space for what will potentially be an idea of maybe putting a shelter in that could be a revenue generator. We resurfaced the tennis court, resurfaced the hockey court. We took out this concrete gutter right here and put in a bioswale. And so the new look, not going? There it is. So that's the new look of Swisshelm Park with the bioswale right here, the new tennis court back here, the new hockey court, and the open green space right here. That project was in the neighborhood of $196,000. And the last playground I want to bring to attention is Armstrong Park. I believe this is the older modular structure. This old safety surface has been down here probably since the 80s, well past its useful life. So in this particular park, we again fixed the modular equipment up. We renovated the court, the basketball court, and we also, there's a spray feature there, not quite a spray park, but a spray feature. So we enhanced that and made a much more attractive spray feature. And so the finished product right now just shows the playground, but it's new playground equipment and, again, new safety surface. But there's a lot more things that were done at Armstrong, so I encourage everybody to take a look at that. I have the next two projects are done in conjunction, actually more so with the Department of Parks and Recreation. I'm going to ask Director Griffin to come up and speak more to it. But the next project is the Schenley Park Rink the Rink building. And a lot of improvements were done to this building. An elevator was installed to make it ADA compliant. And there were renovations made to the interior, to the meeting room particularly. It is a revenue producer for the city parks. And the room was enlarged to accommodate more and more people and create more revenue opportunities. And so I'd like to move to show what the building looks like and then the meeting room. And I'd ask Jim to speak to anything else there.
I think Director Yeo captured a lot of the best features there in terms of the highlights of the new build there. That had previously been a banquet room and an opportunity for revenue generation through rental fees, and it had been a very popular facility. It's even more so now after the construction has been completed. And most importantly, however, is the addition of the elevator and parking spaces for folks with disabilities. It makes the entire facility accessible. And we also added another party space at the rink level itself that'll be perfect for parties for young children, and they can also stay in their skates. They don't have to take off their skates to enjoy a party environment and party facilities. So it's been a $1.6 million build so far, and it's just about complete. And again, we expect additional improvements in 2017 for the rink surface itself to help with the chilling and also to help us extend the season. And again, have greater opportunities for recreation and extend the season for our patrons.
Okay, the next project is the Frick Environmental Center. The original center burned down probably 14 years ago.
The second burn.
Okay, so it's a series of burns, but it's been a vacant spot for many, many years, and so again, this is a project in conjunction with the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy, who actually carried the weight on this. The city did bring in a certain amount of money through the trust fund, through its insurance, but in particular, what's lost here is that this is a much larger than just the building itself. It's a renovation of an entire landscape around this building. And so the building is LEED certified and Living Building Challenge. They're meeting the Living Building Challenge, which is net zero water, net zero energy. They're generating those things right on the land, so that they're meeting that challenge. The landscape has been improved with the walkways, the solar panels, parking lot. I think there's a parking lot pervious.
Yes.
Yeah, the parking lot's pervious paving. So this is really a major green project that has occurred in our park. And so this is just the picture of the completed building itself. But the landscape, this project was 15 million plus. So there's a whole lot more that our pictures couldn't capture. But I encourage again everybody to go out and visit this location. And I ask Jim if he wants to add anything to this.
Yeah, thank you, Director Gable. It really was an extraordinary partnership. The city of Pittsburgh, the fund began funding for this building just about 4 years ago with the allowance of the Frick Family Trust that funded much of the park to allow for them to, the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy, to raise money against that. And that initial investment of $5 million has helped spark the generation and creation of this great facility that's, I think when it's said and done, it'll be worth at least $20 million in its final form. In addition to that, it'll provide generations of young people and families with environmental education opportunities. And again, it's an extraordinary partnership with the City of Pittsburgh and Parks Conservancy, and going forward that partnership will continue. City Parks Rangers will be housed in that facility alongside with PPC staff, and will patrol the park and provide for an improved user experience for all citizens and residents who visit the park and enjoy this brand new facility.
Okay, just two more projects. The next one is Frazier Park. And so for many years, probably I would say last 10 years, this park, it had a number of lights in it, probably in the neighborhood of around 22 lights, but they've been knocked down. Globes were knocked off. It just presented a bad visual picture. We were able to garner enough money this year to replace the lighting in the park, and we then installed 26 new park standard decorative poles and fixtures. So this is what the park looks like at night. The residents in Bloomfield are ecstatic, and so is West Penn Hospital. So a long time coming, but again, the thing I want to emphasize here is that we did end up having to put a few extra lights in, make sure we got good wash through the whole park, and that we are trying to put in our parks the park standards of benches and lights and litter receptacles and things of that nature. So this was a recently completed project, and I wanted to make sure we got a night shot. I think it's much more impactful than during the day. The next project and last one I wanted to speak to was the Shenley Park Westinghouse Memorial and Pond. Again, this is another project that for the last 5 years has sat looking like this. Not that anybody didn't care about it, we just didn't have all the money to do it. The city did have its money, and we'd had asked the Parks Conservancy to cover the difference, which is what their intent is on their mission in terms of doing city projects. So the money was found, and we've started the project. And again, this is the picture doesn't do justice because it's more than just the pond and the memorial. The memorial back here to George Westinghouse, and then this area here is the pond. It's the area beyond this that is also been attended to. It's dealing with stormwater management. If you go there, you're going to see off the side of the road two what is considered to be retention ponds. There is an awful lot of water that just comes through this area, not just in the pond, but past the pond, and it makes its way down to the lake. We're capturing that water in retention ponds and allowing it to perk down into the ground rather than allowing it to ruin the landscape further on down the road. So this is what it looks like now. Again, another sort of evening picture to see I think it's just a dynamic picture with the uplighting and the decorative lighting around the fountain, and this was again restored to what it was back in the 30s and 40s. So that is a sample of some of the projects we've done. We could be here for more and more hours, but I think that what we've done over the past year has been pretty exciting. We've got a nice set of challenges on our hand for 2017 that I think we can come back next year and hopefully show just as dynamic of pictures. And before I leave, I just want to thank two other staff members for helping to put this together. Harvey Butts took a lot of time. He's an architectural assistant in my department. Took a lot of time to go out and make these photographs, particularly at night, past working hours, to do this and put this slideshow together. And Chris Young, who also worked with Harvey in helping to put this program together. Chris is an intern working in our department this year. So thank you very much.
Thank you to Director Gable and Director Griffin for all of your hard work on our city facilities. I definitely want to check out some of those as well. They look beautiful. At this time, we're going to give the floor to our Director of City Planning, Ray Gastel.
Good afternoon, and thanks to Directors Gable and Griffin. I really appreciate that Director Gable focused on the partnership aspect of the capital projects. We certainly have that here, and not only with civic organizations and communities, but also with our fellow departments, including City Parks and Public Works. As you'll see, much of this work is about collaboration within the city as well as with communities and civic organizations. I'd like to note that today that I am here, Ray Gastel, Director of City Planning, but we also have Andrew Dash, who's Assistant Director for Strategic Planning, and I'm going to ask him to come up and talk about a couple of the projects that he's most directly engaged with. So I have this. The first item we're going to talk about, we're going to break it down between sort of projects that were completed in 2016, or the capital project, this particular aspect of the capital project was completed in 2016. Then we're going to show projects that are sort of continuing into 2017 with 2016 and other funds. And then we're going to show the items which are in the 2017 capital budget. So this first one is the Affordable Housing Task Force work, which included a number of items that were included in the capital budget, including the deliberative democracy process, which engaged communities across the city in questions of affordable housing and what their priorities and what the opportunities and issues were. Second aspect was that we made sure that we had an in-depth research on the actual needs assessment, which was one of the part of that was legislatively requested by the City Council, and that work was also completed in this year. And then third, we have the work that was done for a financial feasibility study, looking at the range of types and the opportunities for and the possibility for sufficient return to help sponsor more affordable housing through the market. So that was, we have reached, as you know, the recommendations were delivered at the end of May to the City Council. They remain part of the active work that we do is the follow-through on these recommendations, including most recently the City Council Standing Committee has passed an affordable housing, or rather a housing opportunity trust fund, which reflects the recommendations of the task force. This is a different type of project, one that we did working with city parks and with DPW, but this is a monuments and memorials that are in, 3 of them that are in Allegheny Commons, all of which were worked on and completed in 2016. I think you can see the image here is of the Soldiers Monument, which has the Statue of Fame. I don't know the pointer right now, I'm sorry. But the Statue of Fame, which in the end, Fame's head had to be replaced. The nose had been knocked off, I believe it was by lightning. In any case, that work was done, and this beautiful 1871 monument was restored, and we're pleased that work got done. In addition, there was the Thomas Armstrong, the great labor leader. His statue was restored, as well as the George Washington Monument. And so those were all actually just sort of happened in the rhythm that those 3 were all in Allegheny Commons and all completed in 2016. Next, this is actually a planning project, as you note from the description that Mr. Hutchinson gave, overview of how capital projects are defined. They include planning. This was planning for 21st Street, actually, in this case, and it was work that was completed with capital project funding, and which really arrived at a concept design for 21st Street with many potential practical applications and implementation. And it's also allowed us to lead into the work that we're doing now that we have the opportunity to rebuild Smallman Street. It led into the planning work that's going on Smallman Street. This is, while a very nicely rendered Photoshop, this is not actually there today. This is an image of how we could actually create a small plaza, sort of using the generous breadth of Smallman Street, create a small plaza directly in front of St. Stanislaus, which is actually something that the church has looked for quite some time, and it's also been something the community, of all the images we showed in this process, I think I can safely say that they were more excited and enthusiastic about this one than anyone, that really captures that we have a very special street here that can be both a functional street, but also is a really important part of our public realm and potentially one of the great public spaces in Pittsburgh. So this has really allowed us to move that forward. This is a project that I'm really pleased with in the sense that it was a very efficient use of resources to create design guidelines for our open spaces. This is something that obviously Director Griffin was very involved with, and we actually came up with something, because we have a range of open spaces. Some are parks, some are greenways, some are various other things, but we said we need a uniform signage that actually tells people that you are in a City of Pittsburgh open space now. And so with I think this is not a sort of detailed image of the signage, but as you can see, it's a very elegant palette of design with sort of some varieties. That's Joshua Lippert, who was instrumental in this work, standing proudly by one of the first signs that we actually built, because this budget was both design guidelines and actual implementation. We've got some signs done. This is one for the newly named August Wilson Park, and then you also see one for the Homewood Healthy Active Living Center. So really we're sort of incorporating, making clear that things like the Active Living Center is part of the same sort of suite of city resources and assets that for the community. This is, I think now we're shifting to ongoing projects. We've got the ones not completed in 2016, but the ones that are sort of, capital is going to keep going in 2017. I'm going to ask Assistant Director Dash to come up and take us through this one, as well as take us through the Eco-Innovation project after that.
Thank you. So this project is a study of all of the greenways within the city system. So the greenways are, a resource that we have in Pittsburgh, where a lot of our hillside properties are, permanently protected as passive open space. And this project was actually developed. The program was developed in 1979, and the work that we're doing with the capital budget dollars allowed us to then go and get grants from the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to complete a study that does three things. Develops policy around the city's greenways. These greenways are typically stewarded by community organizations and community stewards, so creating better clarity around what those opportunities are in our greenways. Providing resources to those community stewards to be able to to do more within the city's greenways, and then working on plans on some of our specific greenways as somewhat proof of concept. Another project that will continue on, that a lot of work was done in 2016 and is continuing on into 2017, is the work of the Eco-Innovation District. This is a project in Uptown and West Oakland that was to form a community vision around a kind of a catalytic event, which was the proposal of bus rapid transit through the 5th and Forbes corridor. And so with some capital investment through the city's capital budget, we were able to receive a large Federal Transit Administration grant to then pursue this project, which is looking at creating a vision for the Uptown and West Oakland neighborhoods, which is primarily focused around the innovation economy, as well as kind of ecological preservation and environmental sustainability in the Uptown and West Oakland neighborhoods, while also allowing for the accommodation of a rapid transit through the neighborhood and understanding how that can fit within a neighborhood vision. And we'll be moving this project on in 2017 while working on creating investment districts to then be able to fund the transportation improvements and environmental improvements, and also working on new zoning to allow for development that fits the vision of the Uptown and West Oakland neighborhoods. I'll turn it back over to Director Gastel.
Thanks a lot. Actually, I just want to talk about, thank you, Andrew. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that Eco-Innovation District that, you can see. I think I might go just one step back for a moment. As you can see from the images, there's a lot of data and a lot of really sort of both quantitative and qualitative design and analysis going into this project from many disciplines. But one part that we've sort of shown in the visuals is that, and I think that is represented to some degree by the diagram there. But the visuals, this is something that we've really pushed an engagement agenda that we're very proud of, an engagement agenda that is not, we have certainly worked to be online and so forth with this project, but we also recognize that getting to people where they are and getting to really directly connect with people about what they want, what they see, and just really living in their neighborhood has been incredibly valuable for the staff and the consultant team, and so that we find ourselves having, I actually can say in my career, I've never been to a planning event that was about planning and understanding a plan that was like an outdoor street fair before. And I was really, it seems like a sort of almost like a casual thing or almost a little bit jocular, but I really think it's actually a very serious part of our effort to truly say, like, how do we really engage people? How do we actually connect to the communities that are there and say that we actually care about you and how you're living today, even though there's a potentially transformative project such as the BRT, and how can we really make sure that that's a dialogue that we take the time and the detail that we need to have that conversation to move it forward. The next one is, this is about Riverfront Zoning. We're fortunate, as you may know, we have a Riverfront Interim Planning Overlay District, which allowed us to sort of make sure that sort of major riverfront projects that are coming on board into the entitlement process got the level of review they need right away. But at the same time, we're developing riverfront zoning for the long term. And this work is now, these are two images just to emphasize the riverfront zoning itself. I cannot guarantee that riverfront zoning will create an amenity like these wonderful steps that are so beloved by Pittsburghers. And this is actually breaking ground at that beautiful park across, between the Three Sisters Bridges is the landing that is there that has a beautiful sculpture that's been restored. And so we're doing a groundbreaking. And I just show it because of, again, this partnership issue. You've got the county executive, you've got a major Karen Rubinoff with a major contributor to the kind of the process from the private and then the philanthropic sector. And then you have Vivian Lee, the head of River Life there as well, who's been a critical partner for us in terms of like reaching out to civic organizations and community to make sure that we were actually hearing from, and we have a much broader range of folks, I might note, including industrial community, et cetera, as we move forward with this riverfront of zoning. So that's a work that we'll have started and will keep going and be completed in 2017. And then we come to another one, which is this is a project in the Broadway Avenue public realm. This is something that people have been thinking about for some time, but now we're really able to move towards both a plan and on towards implementation. And so but first we're getting the conceptual design done for how this, critical, and as you can see from the sort of pattern that analyzes the amount of use of the transportation infrastructure and so forth, that there's a real opportunity to enhance the public realm and recognize that this is, when you look at the sort of picture of Pittsburgh and where we actually have places that are people walk and take transit and bike and shop, that there's actually, it's not all about downtown and a couple of neighborhoods. It's really about downtown, but it's also about, many neighborhoods, and like how do you actually strengthen them is a key part of both the sort of policy aspects of what city planning does, but we're also able to work on how we're really going to do it with capital projects. This is the comprehensive plan. It's noted here because one of the things you noted in the introduction was that one of the sort of tenets for capital program facilitation committee is to look at whether things, if applicable, are responsive to the comprehensive plan. And what's elements of the comprehensive plan that are completed include the open space plan. And in the open space plan, this kind of follow through is exactly things that we wanted to do, and that the leadership of the city that had worked so hard on that, we're now beginning to bear fruit in terms of our work. So here we have a South Side Park master plan, which will be that's going to, in 2017, that'll both be contracted and get going. And then we also have the Adopt a Park Toolkit, which is a park standards guide, which allows folks to help, it allows us to help increase the participation and support for our parks that if people want to actually contribute, if they want to actually help a park, how can they do it? Here's a guidebook of how you could do it in terms of resources and what is the furniture, what is the kind of, how do we improve our parks? And this again, of course, is about working very closely with City Parks and Department of Public Works, and then just creating an engagement guide, because so many people in Pittsburgh, not surprisingly, are very eager not to just use their parks, which we all do, and actually from the presentation Director Gable together with Director Griffin gave, it was just sort of astonishing to remind us of how much work gets done every year and how beautiful our parks are. But one part of it, and one of the good things, is that people not only want to use them, but they also want to help support them. And so with something like this Adopt a Park Toolkit, we can actually help that happen. Again, in 2017, there is we're now into sort of ones that are not ongoing, but rather are specifically 2017 budget requests, which we look forward to being passed. We do have monies for war monuments and public memorials and public art. And we look forward to, could always use more, and we also look forward to making sure, because we do have the work that we did in terms of developing a sort of an inventory of them, and also the work that we're fortunately doing with our colleagues in the city about translating this into the cartograph sort of assets analysis and information, that we're hoping. We have not identified where we're going to spend that money in 2017, but we think that we now have really a good set of resources to share as we make that decision. And that's thanks to earlier support. And finally, we're very proud, as always, that one of the capital projects that the department has the privilege of administering is those for ADA projects for Americans with disabilities. And so here I'm just giving one example, but one of the most important ones of the funding, which is hearing loops, which are going to be installed in a number of the healthy and active living centers, which include this one, the Southside one here. The sounds like Market Hall, but the I think that's just sort of a symbol of it. The loops themselves are a technique in which you. I am not the technician on this, but they are a technique which basically has a way of amplifying sound so that, like, when there's a speaker and so forth, that those folks, with the hearing aid, they actually are going to be able to not sort of just have to get the sort of 30 feet up to the speaker at the front of the room or across the table, but rather that amount of sound level is sort of moved through the room. And that is, we've seen it, we believe in it as a way to really enhance the experience of those with hearing challenges in their meetings and in the use of these centers. So I think with that, we may be at the end of our presentation. Thank you very much. And I just would like to note, actually, that to thank both Andrew Dash, but also Assistant Director Mike Petrucci, who both are very deeply engaged in the capital projects work of our department, and also thank Nick Chubb for helping us with this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Gassel. I think Director Gassel touched on something that's important for the capital program in general, which is the capital projects are better with community involvement and participation. So please feel free to come out for planning meetings, for project-specific meetings, for the capital budget deliberative forums in June. You can always reach out to your council office as well. So I hope you feel that your voice is heard in the capital program that we're putting together. Does anybody have any questions or comments for the good of the order? All right, I think that concludes today's meeting. Thank you very much.